And welcome back to LinkedIn Logs. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the jobs, the business podcast for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Everything is so loud. I don't know why. Here we are back in the it's still so loud. I'm not going to turn it down. Here we are back in the fray of things. We took a week off because we felt like we needed it. Look at the dates and you'll see why. Holy moly. Here we are again, recording a show. Yeah, there we go. What's been going on with me? Well, besides what happened. Not much. I finished an audiobook in the time 2 weeks ago. I've been recording those for Audible. I think this is going to sound so jaded of me. I feel as though I signed up for this one audiobook that I will not be specific about, but it is about septic tanks. I signed up for this one audiobook. I did my audition. They chose me. I feel like in the time, because you can choose if you want to do pay per hour plus royalty fee or just a royalty fee. Obviously, none of these books are going to be Harry Potter. None of these books are going to be the Bible. None of these books are going to be Demon Copperhead, a book I own in audio form. None of these books are going to be any book. They're not going to be the biggest selling thing. You'd like for them to be when you go to this ACX platform with Audible and audition and you see a book and you go, God, I hope this is the next Gone Girl. But then you read the audition and you go, this is not it. This is not what this is supposed to be. Be it because of the writing, because of the writing, because it's a book. Anyway, I usually choose the pay per hour option. I always choose the pay per hour option. I'm even looking at the platform right now. I have so many filters that it is truly, I'm only asking for certain genres, which is I'm looking at all the genres. It's all the genres. It's basically almost all the genres. I'm looking for certain genres, gender neutral, voice, gender, male, so male or gender neutral, just whatever they want. And I also have my project budgets up between $50 to $400. Because let's just be real, I'm not going to get any of the $500 to $1,000 ones. Project budgets. There's no point in even auditioning for those. I'm not going to waste time. I want to get my feet wet with these smaller ones. And then hopefully they go, or hopefully someone is looking at my profile or they see this on my resume or whatever, and they go, this is the person. I got to hear that voice. And they want to charge me. Or they're like, how much $1,000 per hour? Let's do it. And so anyway, and when I say these are $50 per hour, $400 per hour, whatever, it is per finished hour. So it's the hours that ACX assumes it'll take you to read 100,000 words. So I'm going to click on a random book because it says budget 50 to 100 or $50 to $100 PFH. Project length 3 to 5 hours. The word count is 32,000. So they estimate 3.5 hours. So whatever you all land on between the 50 and 100, I assume you can negotiate. I've never gotten a good enough book to where I can negotiate, which is fine. I've only done a handful. For this last book, I'm sorry for the big pause. I was trying to gather my words, and I stopped breathing for a second. For this last book, I'd gotten it maybe because I finished it like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but I'd gotten it like a month before that. And it's only it was, I'm not even gonna say how long it was, but it was a very, very short book. And when I auditioned for it, it clearly said the budget was, I believe 50 to 100 payment per hour or whatever. When I accepted the thing, or when they offered it to me, when the person offered it to me, they changed it to royalty share, which means they don't have to pay me jack shit unless the book sells over a certain threshold. Not a certain threshold. Unless the book sells, I get a percentage of that. But that doesn't mean the book's going to sell. In fact, I don't even think the book, it's on sale now. I see something for net sale unit. I see a certain amount for net sale units. Hold on. Wait a minute. Month to date? Last month? Yeah, it's not even popping up on my earnings statement. That's embarrassing for that person. Anyway, go find it. It sucks. And then once I figured that out, I went through that book as quickly as I could. Again, book in quotes. I went through so fast, and like there were moments because it sucked. It really did stink. And the person who wrote this book would constantly say something along the line, like they would repeat the same information over and over and over again, and they were very much clearly selling a product within that book. Also, the book had like links. Yeah, like links. It was a bad book. I'm not going to talk more about it. What I will talk about, though, we're getting off the audiobook thing, is I don't even know. Whatever. I'm going to will it into the universe. There was a social media producer position available for a podcast that I applied for. A friend is connected to somebody, is connected to somebody else. That person posted on their Instagram, "Hey, we're looking for this." My friend, knowing that I'm not doing anything, sent me the thing, and I went, well. She's like, "No, you got to do it." All right, let's do it. I email her, the person she knows. This guy's like, "Great, send me information." Send him everything. I think like a month goes by, and I truly forgot about it. I went, "Yeah, whatever happens." And then I sit down with an interview. It turns out I sit down with an interview. We set up an interview with the people that help run the business part of the podcast. Sure, I think. And then I followed up with, this is something that I have not done, but I think I did a really good job. I'm popping up in my email, so you just gotta hold on. Why is it going so slow? But they asked me for I did the initial interview. Great. Wonderful. It lasted about 12 minutes, which can be good or bad. But in the middle of the interview, the person I was talking to said, "Hey, why don't you send this stuff over?" I'm like, "Awesome." So they asked me to send over 2 separate PDFs. Also, I write such good emails. Oh my gosh. I would hire me. Where I attached 2 PDFs to these emails. One, and neither were my resume. They already have the resume, which is good. But the one, they asked for ideas, which is something I've done before, pitches and stuff for social media. And I feel like they are really good, out of this world pitches. I do, because I come from the world of television, and there's something, while people are now going to school for social media, and I'm not taking that away from them. People are going to school for social media, and they're doing great, amazing things. Sometimes I see things on Instagram and on TikTok and on other YouTube that I truly think, wow, that is something that I just don't know how to do. Or I'm not that in tune with. Someone sent me a meme today from TikTok, and I was on a walk with Maverick, and I looked at it and I went, "What is this?" What? And it was a video. It was a minute-long video of like some cartoon characters who were standing in for Jake Paul and Mike Tyson because their fight is on Friday, and they were like, and the person said, "Oh, this is Jake Paul, Mike Tyson." I'm like, no. I mean, I guess I got that, but why? I just don't understand because I'm not so into. The only thing I know about the internet is the news that I read, which I've had to take some time away from because events. And then also, that's pretty much it. I pretty much only read news and all the trustworthy sources. I pretty much only read news and go on Facebook Marketplace and Nextdoor shopping marketplace because I want to see what people are selling, baby. And but my pitches, I think, are really, really good ideas. I'll go ahead. I'm not going to say the name of the podcast, but I will say it's a big podcast. But I will say that the ideas are really nice. Vintage clip posts. I will skip over that one because that'll give away what it is. Skip over that one. The Lonely Island and Seth Meyers podcast. They do this thing where instead of video, they do record video for their podcast, it seems like, but they use only screenshots of their faces while they're talking. So I thought that'd be a good idea, and have them and have like clips run over the screenshots of their faces, and then cross promotion with other podcasts that they produce. I'm being so vague right now; it's amazing. And then I got some, so that's like weekly stuff, and I have monthly stuff as well. AMAs, merch giveaways. I think that's pretty good, yeah. And then they also asked for portfolio samples, which I had I don't want to say I had a hard time coming up with this because I've never been asked for a portfolio sample in the way that they were asking, but they were asking for a PDF specifically of the portfolio samples. And they knew that this is not like a gig where I lied and I said, "Oh, I can do that. I can ride a horse," and then I'm cast on Yellowstone and I don't know how to ride a horse. Don't tell me what happened in the season premiere of in the mid-season premiere. I have not seen it yet. It is recorded on YouTube TV. I still have not seen it. I assume John dies. That is a spoiler, but the show's been out that season's been off for a year and a half. So I assume he dies. Also because Kevin Costner does not like that job. But he went to make Horizon, which is interesting, to say the least. Can't wait for chapter 2 at some point. And 3 and 4 at some point. Imagine if Horizon did well. I wanted it to do well. I wanted him to be right. Because he was so gung-ho about it. And he shot the first 2 back to back in the middle of shooting 3 and 4, financing it himself. Got a divorce. I just felt so bad for him. So I gave them essentially links. So I just made fun of a guy writing a septic tank book, a book about septic tanks. You can go find it. Go on Audible and find it. It's out there. Just Google my name. Actually, probably put my name into the search box. You can also find the Tyler's Alphas. Hey man, that book has paid me. I'm good. I'm not good. Hold on. Wait a minute. It's not paying me enough. I could buy lunch. Oh boy. But I gave them links to different different versions of, sorry, the one of the animals tried to get outside. The door's closed. They just tried to go on the balcony. I gave them links to different versions of the videos I've posted, of the interviews specifically, because those are the most professional ones. And also, I gave them a couple of news times that I don't do anymore, but those are from years ago. And different examples of how I post on the Instagram for C Plus Comedy. So with two, like the me on the bottom and the interviewee on the top. If there's more than one person and we're having the same conversation, in a quad box, conversational camera switching, and then one that has, I did a few with the logo in the corner of the post. And then some screenshots of videos and stuff and all that. And then more examples where I like explain with the screenshots in detail what the words are saying. You know, forget the video, forget the post. It's what the words are saying. So social posting, and the idea that, you know, you see like the I put like two pictures. One picture, it has like a complete post with detailed caption, proper SEO. You know, like Jim Smith. I'm going to say Jane Smith. There you go. I'm not a sexist. I'm a feminist. Jane Smith is promoting her new special on Amazon coming out this Friday. In this conversation, we talk about XYZ. And then a second post, which is that will be posted, you know, later in the week, maybe a couple weeks down the line, maybe a couple of months, where it's like full interview with Jane Smith available on youtube.com/cpluscomedy or cpluscomedy.com, stuff like that. So I sent that to them, and also I don't know why I sent them this, but like numbers from YouTube Studio, from the YouTube channel for C Plus Comedy. I don't know why I sent them that. I think this is to show like, hey, this is how sometimes my SEO game is really good. Where they're in their words digesting. So hopefully I hear back and it's good, because that'd be a great position to have. And it'd be nice to have full-time work again. I'll tell you that much. Now let's move on to this last thing. This comes from there's something that was a pre-election story. I'm not going to do it. I'm deleting it because this is going to make me sad. This next one comes from the New York Times. The New York Times tech workers go on strike. The Times Tech Guild represents more than 600 software developers and others who run the back-end systems behind the Times' digital operation. That also includes the games. So if you're playing New York Times games right now, you are scabbing so hard. In fact, one guy created a guild-sponsored version of the Corrections. It's Connections, excuse me. Connections. You can find it at connections.swell.com. And it's free to play, and a lot of it is guild-based or strike-based. The two sides, the New York Times and the Times Tech Guild, negotiated until late one Sunday, but then they obviously couldn't reach a consensus, and then boom, they just started striking. The sticking points in the recent days were whether the this also comes from Katie Robertson at New York Times. Got to give people their due. The sticking points in the recent days were whether the workers could get a, quote, just cause provision in their contract, which means they can be terminated only for misconduct or other such reason, pay increases and pay equity, and return to office policies. Times management said in an email to workers last Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, that it had offered a 2.5% annual wage increase, a minimum 5% pay increase for promotions, and a $1,000 ratification bonus. It also said the company would maintain its current in-office work requirements of 2 days a week through June, while allowing employees to work fully remote for 3 weeks per year. That's so dumb. I understand that a lot of CNN, a lot of NBC, a lot of Weather Channel, a lot of New York Times positions do require a little bit of collaboration, but since in 2020 and 2021, for the most part, people were completely at home, and nothing really slowed down. And I'll even say that in television, nothing really slowed down. I'm somebody who was going in the office every single day. I had never missed a day of work. Uh, I only called out sick. Well, not sick. I only called out once or twice because I just didn't want to drive to Buckhead, even though it was a cool 15 minutes. No one was on the road. Ooh, baby. But even still, the idea to force somebody to come to work when they could easily do their job at home is you're the New York Times. And when Apple says come in, it makes me think, well, maybe they, and I'm not agreeing with Apple, but I think maybe, maybe they have to come in because something has to happen. But it's better to give people the flexibility. Don't force people to come in because that's only going to make the job tougher. Everything has changed now. 2020 changed so much of the world. There's no reason that we need to continue following the norm, especially when we've adapted in such ways that we don't have to live in the past, as it seems. So the guild's unit chair, Katie Zhang, said they left them with no choice but to demonstrate the power of their labor on the picket line, and there you go. They went on striking. The Guild said it was asking readers to honor its digital picket line by not playing Times Games products such as Wordle and not using the cooking app. Oh, dang it. I thought I was doing so well. You know what? I was like, I'm not going to play the games. I'm going to play this Connections archive. I only played it once. Or this new connection, this version of the Striking Connections. And then they asked not to use a cooking app. Stinks. I'm going to use a cooking app. I pay so much for New York Times. They filed numerous unfair labor practice charges against the Times with the National Labor Relations Board over the company's return to office mandates. Okay. And its attempt to interrogate members about their intentions to strike. There we go. Hannah Yang, the company's chief growth and customer officer, and Jason Sobel, its chief technology officer, said in an email to tech workers on Sunday night that management had a strong offer on the table. It seems to me that a lot like how Warner Brothers and Disney and Netflix and the rest of those production companies, studios, were strong-manning. They were throwing their weight around when it came to the final negotiation moments for the writers and the SAG strike. And I don't know if the New York Times is in the exact position to do the same thing. You know, after laying off so many people, after buying The Athletic and then killing their entire sports section. I don't know if this is something that they can lean back on, and charging now for archives of podcasts. The Times Tech Guild, the country's biggest union of tech workers with collective bargaining rights, was certified in a National Labor Relations Board election in March 2022. It has been negotiating for a contract since then. The union voted on September 10th to authorize a strike with the intention of walking off the job around Election Day, when readers would start reading the paper again, or the website again. Most notably, you go to New York Times, you go to Wall Street Journal, you go to Washington Post, you go to these websites to get up-to-date information. And if you're smart on Election Day, if you're smart, you have the New York Times open, you're watching whatever news show network channel you like to get that information. You're not just watching one thing. I say that because that's what I do. And, they ended up, everything ended up fine. If anything, I was checking New York Times. I will say that. I was checking New York Times that night because I was out of the house and I was at a birthday party and none of those people gave a shit what was happening. And I was like, guys, it's Tuesday. How are you getting drunk on a Tuesday when this is happening? I'm like looking at my phone the entire time, talking to people like, right? Wirecutter union workers went on a 5-day walkout in 2021 over the Prime Black Friday shopping weekend to pressure management to agree to a contract. Times reporters and editors held a 24-hour strike in December 2022 over contract negotiations. These strikes are only going to get more and more. Like, we're going to see and hear about them more and more because things have to change. As companies as wide-reaching as New York Times, as big as Disney, they're going to have to start paying up, because you can't have the people at the top making a lot of money telling other people that they can't make a lot of money, and also that they can't write about certain things. They have to do their jobs well. And they're a part of the union. So anyway, listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to famous people sometimes. We got a couple of interviews tomorrow and next week. So that'll be happening at some point. Those will be coming at some point, rather. If you want to see a video version of this show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. We see video versions of the other podcasts, the Constitutionalist Podcast, which is the entertainment business news podcast, and Late Night Lately, the late night show. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at cpluscomedy. There's other platforms. We might be there. I'm not supporting them. Me at Chad Black White. Thank you so much. Bye.